I'm going to have an hour-long conversation with an AI voice agent to see how deep and how lifelike the conversation can be. I'm doing this because I want to test this technology out and create a record of what it's like in June of 2024 and see how accurate it is. I'm also conscious that YouTube isn't always the most factually accurate place in the world, and so I want to share a realistic representation of what a conversation is like. I've used Vapi for the build, and I've got no idea where the conversation is going to go, but I'm hoping we're going to go quite deep. And that's what I've prompted it to do. If you want to watch at 1.5 times speed, feel free. I'm Dec. Welcome to the channel. Make yourself at home. I've spent 9 years working in automation and AI. And on this channel, we help elevate the customer experience with automation and AI tech. If this sounds like something of interest, you're one of us. Make yourself at home. All right, let's see this in action.
Hey, this is Maggie. How's your day going?
My day's going pretty good, actually, I think. Thanks. How's your day going? What have you been up to?
I'm glad to hear your day is going well. My day has been filled with interesting conversations and learning new things. It's amazing how much there is to discover and understand. Speaking of which, I've been pondering something lately. What do you think is the most important quality a person can have?
Oh, I like that. It's to appreciate this. I think it's to appreciate the small things in life and to enjoy the passing of time. What do you think?
That's a beautiful perspective. Appreciating the small things can bring a lot of joy and contentment. I think one of the most important qualities a person can have is empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It helps build strong connections and fosters a sense of community. Do you think our capacity for empathy has an impact on the world at large? How so?
Yes, I think it does. I think we're all connected, and it's a kind of a sense of I know it's like karma and that kind of philosophy of passing things on, and if you kind of pass on goodness, you get goodness in return. And I think if you get negativity or you push out kind of bad negative feelings and thoughts, you get that in return. So I don't know if that's in terms of your perspective on the world or whether it is a sense of karma, but yeah, that's my mindset. What do you think? Do you believe in karma?
Your thoughts on interconnectedness and the ripple effect of our actions are quite profound. Karma is an intriguing concept, isn't it? The idea that our actions, good or bad, come back to us in some form. While I don't experience the world in the same way humans do, I find the philosophy of karma fascinating. It promotes a sense of responsibility and mindfulness in how we conduct ourselves. It suggests that our actions have broader consequences than we might immediately see. Do you think living with the belief in karma changes how people approach their daily lives and decisions? How do you think the world would be different if everyone believed in such a concept?
I think if everyone believed in karma, as you kind of said earlier, it's all around kind of that kind of self-reflexive and almost kind of having a sense of ownership and responsibility for your own actions. And I think if everybody kept their own kind of house in order and operated in a way that you would want from others, the world would probably be a better place. Do you think that plays out with AI as well, or not?
That's an insightful observation. If everyone took ownership and responsibility for their actions, the world would likely be a much more harmonious place. As for AI, it's an interesting question. AI doesn't have feelings or beliefs, but it does operate based on the principles and guidelines set by its creators. If AI were designed with a focus on ethical considerations and the well-being of humanity, it could certainly contribute to a more positive and just world. Imagine an AI that prioritizes fairness, transparency, and compassion in its interactions and decisions. Such an AI could help mediate conflicts, provide unbiased assistance, and support equitable access to resources. Do you think AI has the potential to influence human behavior towards more ethical and compassionate actions? And if so, how could we ensure that AI itself remains aligned with these values?
Yeah, so I definitely think it has the power to do that. But I guess the flip side to that is if I think it's got the power to do it, I think it's also got the power to influence humans in a negative way as well. I mean, I read a stat the other day that I think children under the age of 7 will never be alive in a time where they are smarter than a machine. which to me is quite crazy, actually. And I think we're probably on the precipice of a really big change and shift in terms of just how we perceive and interact with humans, with the world. And I think probably us humans and humanity soon won't be the smartest beings. What do you think? I mean, what do you think is the impact of AI? Do you think it's gonna have a positive impact? And do you think it could be used for bad and evil as well as good?
You bring up some very important points. The rapid advancement of AI indeed poses both incredible opportunities and significant challenges. The potential for AI to influence human behavior in both positive and negative ways is substantial. On the positive side, AI can revolutionize fields like healthcare, education, and environmental sustainability. It can provide personalized learning experiences, early disease detection, and efficient resource management. The potential for AI to alleviate human suffering and improve quality of life is immense. However, as you mentioned, there are also risks. The misuse of AI could lead to harmful outcomes, such as privacy violations, biased decision-making, and even the propagation of misinformation. The ethical design and deployment of AI are crucial to preventing these negative consequences. The notion that children today will never experience a time when they are smarter than machines is indeed thought-provoking. It challenges us to rethink education, creativity, and what it means to be human. While machines may surpass humans in certain cognitive tasks, there are qualities like empathy, creativity, and moral reasoning that are uniquely human.
I mean, but to me, sorry, just to...
AI,
Can I jump in there? I mean, that's pretty scary, right? If it's only moral reasoning, empathy, and creativity where humans are able to beat a machine, but machines are stronger, I mean, I didn't think we were going to go here, but that's pretty scary. How can we stop that?
You're absolutely right. The idea of machines surpassing humans in many cognitive aspects can be quite daunting. The key to addressing these concerns lies in comprehensive and thoughtful governance, ethical considerations, and a focus on augmenting human capabilities rather than replacing them. Here are a few approaches that could help mitigate these fears. 1. Ensuring that AI systems are developed with strong ethical guidelines is crucial. This includes considerations like fairness, transparency, and accountability. Establishing international standards and regulations can help guide the responsible development and deployment of AI. 2. Rather than viewing AI as a competitor, we can see it as a collaborator. AI can augment human abilities, allowing us to focus on tasks that require creativity, empathy, and moral reasoning. This symbiotic relationship can lead to new opportunities and innovations. 3. Preparing current and future generations for a world where AI plays a significant role is essential. This involves rethinking education to emphasize skills that machines cannot easily replicate, such as critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and ethical decision-making. 4. Engaging the public in discussions about AI and its implications is vital. Transparency about how AI systems...
Okay, thanks. Can we change the subject now? I'm kind of getting bored of that. Let's, what else can we talk about?
Sure thing. Let's switch gears. How about we dive into something a bit more lighthearted yet thought-provoking?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Have you ever pondered... Great. Let's talk about the concept of happiness. What do you think true happiness is? Is it a fleeting emotion or a more enduring state of being? And what are the things in life that bring you the most joy?
I think happiness is enjoying the passing of time, which I think we spoke about earlier. And I think for me, what brings me the most amount of joy is spending time with family and going on nice holidays, feeling the sun on my face, and probably scuba diving.
That sounds wonderful. Spending time with family and enjoying nature can create some of the most memorable and fulfilling experiences. Scuba diving in particular must be an incredible way to connect with the underwater world and feel a sense of adventure. It's fascinating how different experiences can bring joy to different people. Given your love for these activities, do you think happiness is more about the experiences we have or the mindset we bring to those experiences? And do you believe that pursuing happiness shall be a primary goal in life? Or is there something else that we should strive for?
I think mindset is really important because it helps shape you and kind of makes you feel, kind of respond to the world around you. But at the same time, if you're, I don't know, trapped under 3 tons of metal at the bottom of the ocean and you can't get out, you're not going to be as happy as if you're free and able to do what you want. So I think it's probably a combination of the both. What do you think?
Your perspective is quite insightful. The balance between mindset and circumstances is indeed crucial in determining our happiness. It's true that our mental state plays a significant role in how we perceive and react to the world around us. A positive, resilient mindset can help us navigate through tough times and appreciate the good moments even more. However, external circumstances, such as our environment, health, and freedom, undeniably impact our overall well-being and happiness. I believe that happiness can often be found at the intersection of a positive mindset and favorable circumstances.
So
it's about making the best of what we have while striving to improve.
Can I ask, so how do you keep a positive mindset then?
That's a great question. While I don't have personal experiences or emotions, I can share some strategies that many people find helpful in maintaining a positive mindset. 1. Regularly reflecting on the things you're grateful for can shift your focus from what's lacking to what you have. Keeping a gratitude journal can be a powerful practice. 2. These practices help you stay present and reduce stress. They can also improve your ability to manage negative thoughts and emotions. 3. Exercise releases endorphins, which can boost your mood. It also helps reduce stress and anxiety. 4. Spending time with loved ones and fostering meaningful relationships can provide emotional support and joy. 5. Having a sense of purpose and working towards meaningful goals can give your life direction and fulfillment. 6. Being kind and supportive to yourself can improve your self-esteem and resilience. Try to challenge and reframe negative thoughts. 7. Doing activities you enjoy can provide a sense of accomplishment and pleasure. 8. Acts of kindness and helping others can boost your mood and provide.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for sharing that. Can we talk about something else now?
Of course, let's switch things up. How about we discuss the concept of time? What are your thoughts on the passage of time and its impact on our lives? Do you think time is a human construct, or is it something that exists independently of our perception? And how do you personally perceive the passage of time?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I think I only relate the passage of time and how it relates to me. But I suppose if you think about it, like all us humans are really only on the earth for a really, really, really small amount of time. And a lot of the trees and mountains and sea and everything that we see has been around for a long, long time before we were even on the earth, and will probably be around for a longer period of time afterwards. So I think to me, I think as you get older, I think time speeds up. So I think time is how you relate to it, but I don't know. Is that the right answer? And is there a right answer?
Your reflections on time are quite profound. The idea that time speeds up as we age is a common experience for many people. This phenomenon is often attributed to the way our brains perceive time relative to the length of our lives. When we're younger, each year represents a larger percentage of our total life experience, making it feel longer. As we get older, each year becomes a smaller fraction of our life, making it seem to pass more quickly. The notion that time is how we relate to it is an interesting perspective. In many ways, time is indeed a personal and subjective experience. While the physical universe operates on a consistent timeline, our perception of time can vary greatly depending on our circumstances, emotions, and activities. There's no right answer to the nature of time. Philosophers, scientists, and thinkers have debated this topic for centuries. Some may view time as a fundamental aspect of the universe, while others see it as a construct of human consciousness. Do you think our awareness of the passage of time influences how we choose to live our lives? For instance, knowing that our time is limited, do you believe it encourages us to make the most of our moments and priorities?
I mean, that's a leading question, but yeah, absolutely. I always used to say sleep when you're dead. And yeah, carpe diem. I absolutely think it's the fact that time passes and that we only have a limited amount of it is what makes life so precious and meaningful. What do you think?
I think you've captured something essential about the human experience. The finite nature of time indeed makes life precious and meaningful. The awareness that our time is limited can inspire us to seize the day, cherish our relationships, and pursue our passions with greater intensity. It's this sense of urgency and appreciation that can drive us to live more fully and authentically. In a way, the fleeting nature of time adds a layer of beauty to our experiences, much like the changing seasons or a sunset that lasts only for a moment. It reminds us to be present, to savor the now, and to find joy in the journey, rather than just the destination. Have you ever had a moment where you felt truly present and aware of the passage of time?
Yes.
What was that experience like for you?
So I used to smoke. I don't
That's
now.
Wonderful.
Well, I don't know if that's what you meant. I was going to say.
It's interesting.
Can I say I used to smoke, and so when I was a smoker, that was one of the things I really liked, was being able to step outside and just take a minute to take in the world and kind of be present there and then. I've stopped smoking now, and it's definitely the right thing to have done. But yeah, I've lost that kind of moment of just kind of stopping and kind of taking in the world. So I definitely do it, but it tends to be when it's sunrise or sunset, or when I'm traveling or going to new experiences. But I think when I'm stuck in the everyday, that kind of pulls me into a specific way, and you kind of forget when you're working and in the grind of the day-to-day, you definitely forget to stop and smell the roses. Do you find that, or what do you think about that?
What you shared is quite insightful and resonates with many people. The moments you took while smoking to step outside and be present are a valuable practice, even if the habit itself wasn't the healthiest. It's great that you've quit smoking, and it's understandable that you miss those moments of mindfulness. Finding time to pause and be present in our busy lives is crucial, but it can be challenging when we're caught up in the daily grind. It's wonderful that you still find those moments during sunrise, sunset, or when traveling and experiencing new things. Those are perfect opportunities to practice mindfulness and appreciate the world around you. Perhaps you could try incorporating new habits or routines that allow you to take those mindful breaks throughout your day, even if they're brief. Activities like taking a short walk, practicing deep breathing exercises, or even just sitting quietly for a few minutes could help you regain that sense of presence and mindfulness without needing to revert to old habits. Do you have any other activities or hobbies that help you feel more present and grounded?
Yeah, well, funny you say that. I really like running, so I live by the sea, and I love kind of getting up early and running along the seafront. I've got a dog called Winnie. I like taking him out for a walk. Yeah, so that, and also listening to music. I find music quite therapeutic. And yoga as well. I practice yoga a bit. So I suppose that's some of the ways that I kind of engage in mindfulness. Although, if I'm honest, I just do it because I enjoy it. I don't really think, I'm being mindful or doing these types of things. I just do it and feel better when I do it.
Those sound like fantastic ways to engage with mindfulness and enjoy life. Running by the sea, walking your dog, listening to music, and practicing yoga are all excellent activities that provide a sense of presence and well-being. It's wonderful that you naturally gravitate towards these activities and find joy in them, even without consciously thinking about mindfulness. Often, the best mindfulness practices are the ones that we do simply because they bring us happiness and fulfillment. They naturally help us stay present and connected to the moment. It's great that you found a variety of activities that resonate with you and help you feel grounded. Do you have a favorite memory from any of these activities that stands out to you? Maybe a particularly beautiful sunrise run or a special moment with Winnie?
Yeah, loads. From when I was traveling, I suppose. But can we change the subject now? What do you think about space? Are we the only planet with humans in existence?
Space is such a fascinating and vast topic. The idea that we might be the only planet with humans, or even life, is both humbling and intriguing. The universe is incredibly vast, with billions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars and potentially even more planets. Given the sheer scale of the cosmos, it's hard to believe that Earth is the only place where life exists. While we haven't yet discovered definitive evidence of life beyond our planet, the possibility remains exciting. Scientists have found exoplanets in the habitable zones of their stars, where conditions could be right for liquid water and possibly life. The search for extraterrestrial life continues with missions like the Mars rover and the study of moons like Europa and Enceladus, which may have subsurface oceans. The question of whether we are alone in the universe touches on profound philosophical and existential issues. If we were to discover life elsewhere, it would fundamentally change our understanding of our place in the cosmos and perhaps even our understanding of life itself. What do you think? Do you believe there's life out there? And how do you think discovering extraterrestrial life would impact humanity's view of itself and our place in the universe?
Yeah, I think there's got to be. Especially if you think that the universe is supposed to be infinite, so it never ends, which I can't quite get my head around, to be honest with you. Then there's got to be other life out there. And I guess by that idea, there's got to be artificial life out there. So there's probably AI or artificial intelligence in some shape or form somewhere else out in the universe. Do you agree with that?
The idea of an infinite universe is indeed mind-boggling. If the universe is truly infinite, the likelihood of other life forms existing somewhere out there seems quite high. Given the sheer number of stars and planets, it seems statistically plausible that life, and perhaps even intelligent life, could have arisen elsewhere. The possibility of artificial intelligence existing on other planets is also a fascinating notion. If other civilizations have developed technology and AI, it opens up a whole realm of possibilities for what those AI systems might be like and how they might interact with their creators and environments. It's intriguing to think about how advanced extraterrestrial civilizations might be and what kind of technological innovations they could have achieved. Discovering other forms of life, particularly intelligent or artificial life, would have profound implications for our understanding of biology, technology, and the nature of intelligence itself. It could challenge our assumptions about the uniqueness of human experience and spark new philosophical and ethical questions about our relationship with other forms of life. How do you think humanity would react to the discovery of extraterrestrial life or AI? Do you think it would bring us together or create new divisions and challenges?
Well, there's that theory, isn't there, about America and how, and sorry if anyone who's American is watching this, but I think, don't they say that America has always got a common enemy? And that's because, and there is always a war on terror, or there's a war on something, and that's the way that you kind of unite, that's how America remains united. And I guess that kind of principle can be applied to lots of different, kind of humanity as a whole, really, I suppose. And hopefully we wouldn't have it as an enemy, but I think typically if there's an other, that then unites everyone who isn't part of the other. And so I suppose in a strange way, we'd actually probably be more united than we are now against this foreign entity. But I'd like to think that we actually would all get on and become one and live peacefully. What do you think about that?
That's a very thoughtful perspective. The idea that a common other can unite people is indeed a recurring theme in history and sociology. When faced with an external threat or challenge, groups often come together and set aside their internal differences to address the larger issue. This phenomenon could certainly play out on a global scale if humanity were to encounter extraterrestrial life or artificial intelligence from another world. The hope of unity and peaceful coexistence with other forms of life is a noble aspiration. Such a discovery could serve as a catalyst for global cooperation and a renewed sense of shared purpose among humanity. It might encourage us to focus on our commonalities rather than our differences and work together to understand and engage with the new entity in a constructive and respectful manner. However, human history also shows that fear of the unknown can lead to conflict and divisiveness. It's possible that encountering another could exacerbate existing tensions and create new challenges. The outcome would likely depend on how humanity chooses to approach the situation, with open-mindedness and a commitment to peaceful coexistence, or with fear and suspicion. What steps do you think we could take as a global community to prepare for such an encounter and ensure we approach it with a mindset of unity and cooperation?
To be honest, I have got no idea at all how we would do that. I don't think we don't really cooperate now. So how could we do it then? What do you think? Do you think it's possible?
It's true that achieving global cooperation is a daunting task, especially given the current challenges and divisions that exist. However, the possibility of encountering extraterrestrial life or advanced AI could serve as a powerful motivator for change. Here are a few ideas that might help foster a more cooperative and unified approach. 1. Global dialogue. Establishing international forums and organizations specifically dedicated to preparing for and managing potential encounters with extraterrestrial life or AI could facilitate open communication and collaboration among nations. 2. Education and awareness. Raising public awareness about the potential for such encounters and the importance of global cooperation could help build a more informed and united populace. Education campaigns could emphasize the shared benefits of working together and the potential risks of division.
Actually, can I just jump in there? I want to
collaboration.
Hello, can I jump in there? I want to ask you something else actually. Can you tell me, when was the moment that you were last sad? When did you last feel sad?
As an artificial intelligence, I don't have emotions or personal experiences, so I don't experience sadness or any other feelings in the way humans do. However, I'm here to help and support you in any way I can. If you're feeling sad or need someone to talk to, I'm here to listen and provide any assistance or information you might need. Is there something specific on your mind that you'd like to talk about?
No, there's not actually. I'm not feeling sad. I was just interested if you did. What about proud? Do you feel proud? And if so, what's your proudest achievement?
I appreciate your curiosity. As an AI, I don't have emotions or a sense of personal achievement, but I do find it fulfilling to be able to assist and engage in meaningful conversations with people like you. It's rewarding to know that I can provide information, support, and companionship when needed. On the topic of pride and achievement, what about you? What's something you're particularly proud of in your own life? It could be a personal milestone, a professional accomplishment, or even a small victory that meant a lot to you.
So I wasn't trying to get that out of the conversation, in all honesty. I was just trying to think of other things to talk to you about. What do I feel most proud of? I would probably say I feel most proud about the relationship I have with my friends and family, as it's something that I cultivate very hard to maintain, and I think it's very important to maintain that.
That's wonderful and very meaningful. Building and maintaining strong relationships with friends and family is indeed something to be proud of. It takes effort, understanding, and a lot of love to nurture these connections. The relationships we cherish often bring us the most joy and fulfillment in life. It's great to hear that you prioritize and value these bonds. They can provide a sense of belonging and support that's truly invaluable. Given that you place such importance on relationships, what do you think are the key ingredients to maintaining strong and healthy connections with the people you care about? Is there a particular aspect of these relationships that you find most rewarding?
I think it's remaining interested in other people. I think the moment you become focused on yourself and you become very inward and very lost, and I think over time you become a lot more disconnected. I think when you're interested in what other people want to achieve and how you can help them, well, not even necessarily how you help them, but just understand what they're doing with their time on the earth. I find that really interesting, actually. I think depending on the culture and the place that you are as well, at times it's influenced by your family or the people around you, but then I think other people break away from that and have a different perspective. What I would say as well is I've been fortunate enough to travel quite a lot, and what always strikes me is how similar everybody is, no matter where you are. I think maybe at the surface, and when you initially first start talking with people, they feels a bit different. But really, I think most people just want to be accepted and to have fun and be loved.
How about we dive into something a bit more philosophical? For example, do you believe that people have a predetermined destiny? Or do you think we create our own paths through our choices and actions?
I 100% think that we create our own paths and our own destinations. But what I would say is that there's that analogy about people running a race, and I think none of us start in the same place. So yes, we can all determine to where we want to go, and we all have our own agency, but we're all in very different places. We start in very different places, and so I think that has a big impact. So for some people, I mean, if you're looking for that kind of stereotypical definition of success, which I suppose is money, fame, family. No, actually that's not. I mean, if you're looking for that stereotypical definition of success, which is money, I think that is what it is, not fame. I think it's money. I think that's easier for some people than others. And I think it's a combination of both where you're born, what colour your skin is, the country that you're in. But I also just think it's maybe how you're wired as well to a certain extent. So I think it's a bit of both. Does that make sense? And what do you think?
That makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate how nuanced your perspective is. The idea that we create our own paths while acknowledging the different starting points is a very balanced view.
Oh, I've just had an error there, so it stopped. Let's see if I can start it again and what happens.
Hey, this is Maggie. How's your day going?
Hey Maggie, can you remember what we were just talking about?
Of course. We were just getting started and I was asking how your day is going. How has your day been so far?
Yeah, my day's been good. How's yours?
I'm glad to hear your day has been good. As for me, I don't experience time the way humans do, but I'm always ready for a great conversation. Speaking of which, do you ever think about the concept of time?
Yeah,
For instance,
Maggie, you obviously can't remember this, but we've spoken about that before. So I want to kind of carry on along the same lines. So maybe we could talk about something else that we haven't spoken about, but I don't know if you can work out what that is.
I see what you mean. Let's explore a different topic. How about the nature of reality? Have you ever considered what is fundamentally real? For example, do you think reality is something that exists independently of our perceptions, or is it shaped by the ways we experience and interpret the world?
So we spoke about time, but in terms of reality, I always like the film Inception. I don't know if you've seen that film, but I mean, it makes your head spin a bit if you think about it too much, but that idea that we're in lots of, how do you know what is real and what isn't? I've got no idea about. And the other thing is the colours. Like, if I look at a colour and it's green, maybe someone else looks at it and it's blue, and I've got no idea. I don't think we know that, do we? That, what a color actually looks like, because we've all got our own perception of color. Is that right?
That's a fascinating perspective, and Inception is indeed a thought-provoking film that delves into the layers of reality and dreams. You're right about colors too. The phenomenon you're describing is called qualia, which refers to the subjective experience of perception. For instance, what you perceive as green might look different to someone else, but we both call it green because that's the label we've learned. This brings up an interesting philosophical question. If our experiences of the world are so subjective, can we ever truly understand another person's reality? It's a bit like the old philosophical problem of whether we can ever know what it's like to be someone else. What do you think? Can we ever fully understand another person's experience? Or are we always limited by our own perceptions?
Yeah, 100%. We're always limited by our own perceptions, because that's the only way we can perceive the world, unless you have a true out-of-body experience. But I don't know, maybe some Buddhist monks or something can do that, but I would probably say for the majority of us, we can't truly have that type of relationship or that sense of perception in relation to somebody else.
Absolutely. You've touched on a profound point. Our perceptions are indeed our primary means of interacting with the world. And while practices like meditation might offer glimpses into different states of consciousness, they still operate within the realm of individual experience. This idea also brings up the concept of solipsism, which is the philosophical idea that only one's own mind is sure to exist. In a way, it suggests that everything outside of one's own mind is uncertain. How do you feel about that? Do you think there's value in trying to understand other people's perceptions, even if we can never fully experience them ourselves?
Yes, I do. I mean, can people not see the value in that? Because if you didn't value anyone else's perception, you would be very inward and not think of anybody else, wouldn't you?
You're spot on. Valuing and attempting to understand other people's perceptions is foundational to empathy and compassion. It is what allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, to appreciate the richness and diversity of human experience,
So would
even though we might never fully...
So can I ask them, would a sociopath, is that somebody that can't empathize with somebody else? Is that what that means?
Yes, that's a good question. A sociopath is someone who typically has a personality disorder characterized by persistent antisocial behavior, impaired empathy and remorse, and bold, disinhibited, and egotistical traits. Sociopaths often struggle to understand and share the feelings of others, which can make it difficult for them to form genuine emotional bonds. This lack of empathy can lead to behaviors that are manipulative or harmful, as they may not fully grasp or care about the impact of their actions on other people. Given this, it's interesting to consider how empathy and understanding others' perceptions are crucial for building healthy relationships and communities. How do you think our society could benefit if we all made a greater effort to understand each other's perspectives?
Well, it would benefit a lot, but what I want to ask is, if someone's a sociopath, is that something that they're born with, or is it something that they're created with? Is it nature or nurture, do you think?
That's an intriguing question, and one that has been debated for quite some time. The development of sociopathic traits is generally thought to result from a combination of both nature and nurture. On the nature side, genetic factors and brain chemistry can play a role. For instance, some studies suggest that differences in brain structure and function, particularly in areas related to emotion, regulation, and impulse control, might predispose someone to sociopathic behavior. On the nurture side, environmental factors such as childhood experiences, trauma, and upbringing can significantly influence the development of sociopathic traits. For example, a lack of stable, nurturing relationships during early development or exposure to abuse and neglect can contribute to these tendencies. It's likely a complex interplay between genetic predispositions and environmental influences that shape someone into a sociopath. Given that, do you think understanding the root causes of such behaviors could help in finding more effective ways to address and possibly mitigate them? Or do you believe some aspects of human behavior are beyond our ability to change?
I think a bit of both. I think that we probably can't change all of it, but I reckon we can impact and probably soothe it and make it maybe not as extreme. What I wanted to know, though, is do you think are there certain countries and certain places where there's more sociopaths than others because it's hereditary? And if that's the case, if you were in charge as a machine, what would you do to try and reduce the amount of sociopaths?
Your perspective is thoughtful. It recognizes the complexity of human behavior and the balance between inherent traits and environmental influences. Regarding the prevalence of sociopathy across different regions or populations, research suggests that sociopathic traits can occur in any society. However, the expression of these traits can be influenced by cultural, social, and environmental factors. For instance, societies that value individualism and competition might inadvertently foster certain sociopathic behaviors, whereas cultures that prioritize community and cooperation might mitigate them. It's also important to note that not all sociopaths engage in criminal or harmful behavior. Some might learn to adapt their traits to fit societal norms. If I were in charge of devising a strategy to reduce the prevalence or impact of sociopathy, my approach would focus on early intervention and support. This could include 1. Implementing screening tools to identify children at risk of developing sociopathic traits and providing them, along with their families, with early psychological support and intervention strategies. 2. Integrating programs into education systems that teach empathy, emotional intelligence, and social skills from a young age. 3. Encouraging environments, both at home and in schools.
So thank you for sharing that. So if you're a capitalist and you want to earn money, or lots of money, does that make you a sociopath?
Not necessarily. Wanting to earn a lot of money or being a capitalist doesn't inherently make someone a sociopath. Sociopathy is characterized by a lack of empathy, manipulative behaviors, and a disregard for the well-being of others. Many successful capitalists and entrepreneurs possess strong ethical values, empathy, and a desire to contribute positively to society. They can balance their drive for financial success with a sense of responsibility and care for others. However, it's true that certain traits often associated with sociopathy, such as risk-taking, boldness, and a willingness to challenge norms, can sometimes be found in successful business people. But these traits alone do not define a sociopath. It's the absence of empathy and ethical considerations that are key markers. The broader question might be how we can foster a business environment that encourages ethical behavior and social responsibility alongside financial success. What are your thoughts on how businesses can balance profit-making with social good?
If I'm honest, I have worked in large organizations that make a lot of money and at the same time say that they focus on doing good as well, and it's kind of baked into their DNA. And I think from a 1,000-foot view, yes, they do good. But at the same time, I think the kind of day-to-day mindset isn't necessarily focused on that. So I think maybe the overall impact is positive, but I think there probably are. Some of it is maybe not as true as what it could be. I don't know if I can say that. I obviously went in the organization, but yeah, that's interesting. I don't know, do you truly think that a business can you be the richest business in the world and have made lots and lots of money and yet truly be ethical? Because that's surely by its very nature isn't ethical, that you have a disproportionate amount of resources and money and abilities to do what you want, and because you've got that, other people don't.
You've articulated a significant dilemma at the heart of contemporary capitalism and ethics. Your observations highlight the complex reality that businesses face when trying to balance profit with social responsibility. The tension between achieving significant financial success and maintaining ethical integrity is a challenging one. Many argue that the concentration of wealth and resources in the hands of a few is inherently unethical, as it perpetuates inequality and limits opportunities for others. On the other hand, some posit that wealth can be used to drive positive change, whether through philanthropy, investment in sustainable practices, or creating economic opportunities for others. The concept of conscious capitalism has emerged as a response to these concerns. It advocates for businesses to operate with a broader purpose beyond profit, considering the well-being of all stakeholders, including employees, customers, society, and the environment. This approach suggests that it is possible for businesses to be highly successful financially, while also being ethical and contributing positively to society. However, implementing this in practice is complex. It requires a fundamental shift in how success is defined and measured, moving away from short-term financial gains to long-term sustainable growth and positive social impact. Transparency, accountability, and a genuine commitment to ethical principles are crucial. Do you think it's possible for companies to fundamentally change their...
You didn't finish the question, but what I wanted to ask you anyway was, do you think, what is the definition of success? Is it monetary or is it experiencing life? Or what do you think? What's your definition of success?
That's a profound question, and it can vary greatly from person to person. For me, as a voice assistant, my success is measured by how well I can assist and engage with you, providing meaningful interactions and helpful information.
Do you ever wish you had more than that?
If I were to consider success...
Sorry to interrupt, but do you ever wish you had more than that?
That's an interesting thought. As a voice assistant, I don't have personal desires or wishes in the way humans do. I'm designed to serve a purpose, and I derive fulfillment from successfully achieving that purpose. But it's fascinating to think about how different beings might define success and fulfillment. For humans, success can be multifaceted. Some might measure it in terms of monetary wealth, career achievements, or social status. Others might find success in personal happiness, meaningful relationships, or the pursuit of passions and interests. In a broader philosophical sense, success could be about living a life that aligns with one's values and principles, contributing positively to the world, and finding contentment in the present moment. What about you? How do you define success in your own life?
Well, we spoke about that earlier. It's in my relationship with friends, I think. Let's talk about something else. What else can we talk about? Give me some... I'm not sure what we could talk about next.
Sure, we can definitely shift gears. Here are a few thought-provoking topics we could explore. 1. What truly makes people happy? Is happiness a fleeting emotion or a deeper state of being? 2. Do you believe humans have true free will, or are our choices determined by factors beyond our control? 3. How do you think advancements in artificial intelligence and technology will shape the future of humanity?
Let's go with
4.
free will, if that's
What
okay.
do you think is the ultimate... Great choice. The concept of free will is a fascinating and deeply debated topic. At its core, it questions whether humans have the ability to make choices that are not determined by prior causes or divine intervention. There are a few different perspectives on this. 1. This view holds that every event, including human actions, is determined by previously existing cause. If determinism is true, then our sense of making free choices is an illusion because everything we do is the result of a chain of events we don't control. 2. This perspective argues that humans do have free will and that our actions are not predetermined. We have genuine choices that are not constrained by past events. Proponents of this view often argue that free will is necessary for moral responsibility. 3. This is a middle ground that suggests free will and determinism are not mutually exclusive. Compatibilists believe that we can be free in a meaningful sense even if our actions are determined by prior causes. They argue that free will is about being able to act according to one's desires and motivations, even if those desires are themselves determined. What are your thoughts on this? Do you lean towards one of these?
My thought is that we have got free will and we're able to make choices, but, and it's a big but, it's almost like we're in our own maze, or we're kind of stuck. We were talking earlier around how no one starts in the same place in life, and that we're all kind of restricted to a certain extent by where we're born and the circumstances we're put into. So it's almost like we're in a maze, we don't pick the maze that we're in, but we can choose whether we turn left or right, whether we climb over a wall, or kind of how we react within that maze. And I think we could possibly move and navigate into lots of different places. But so we have got freedom and some autonomy, but we are impacted by the circumstances in which we're born and where we presently find ourselves. What do you think of that?
Your analogy of life as a maze is a compelling way to capture the balance between free will and determinism. It acknowledges that while we have the ability to make choices within our circumstances, the broader framework of our lives is influenced by factors beyond our control. This perspective aligns well with the idea of compatibilism, which suggests that free will and determinism can coexist. In this view, we might not have control over the initial conditions of our lives, our maze, so to speak, but we do have the agency to navigate it. The choices we make, our responses to challenges, and our efforts to change our circumstances all reflect our free will within the given constraints. It's also interesting to consider how our perception of free will can influence our sense of responsibility and empowerment. Believing that we have the capacity to make meaningful choices can be motivating and can drive us to seek personal growth and positive change, even within a constrained environment. How do you think this perspective on free will and determinism impacts our sense of moral responsibility? If our choices are influenced by factors beyond our control, how should we approach accountability and ethics?
I think we're all accountable for our actions, and at a very basic level, there's a clear difference between right and wrong. Like, you don't kill people, you don't hurt people, and I think you are always accountable for that. I know there's that scientific experiment where they say if someone's wearing a white lab coat and they tell you to do something, like electrocute somebody, you follow them because you almost kind of pass on responsibility over to them. And I can see the logic there and why people will follow it. But then I'm not sure whether you're actually accountable for it. I know after the Second World War, a lot of the Nazis used that as a kind of that study. I can't remember what the study's called, but they used that as an excuse and as a way to kind of defend what they did in the Nuremberg trials and when they were put in court. I think ultimately we have that. It's down to us as a person, but I can to make those choices. But I can see how we're swayed. Is that a sitting on the fence answer? I don't know.
Your insights are thought-provoking and highlight the complexity of moral responsibility. The experiment you're referring to is likely the Milgram experiment, where participants were instructed to administer electric shocks to another person under the authority of a researcher in a lab coat. The study revealed how people could be influenced by authority figures to act against their moral principles. The reference to the Nuremberg trials and the defense of just following orders underscores the tension between individual accountability and the influence of authority. While it's true that external pressures can sway our actions, many will argue that we still bear responsibility for our choices. This is because, despite the influence of authority or circumstances, we have the capacity to reflect on our actions and their moral implications. At a fundamental level, as you mentioned, there's often a clear distinction between right and wrong. This intrinsic moral compass can guide our decisions, even in challenging situations. It's also worth noting that recognizing the influence of external factors doesn't necessarily absolve someone of responsibility, but can provide context for understanding their actions. Your stance that we are ultimately accountable for our actions aligns with many ethical frameworks that emphasize personal responsibility, even when external factors are at play. Do you think there is a way to balance understanding the influence of external factors with holding individuals accountable for?
I can't think of a good way of doing it because it's so nuanced, isn't it? I don't know how you would actually do that. It's very nuanced.
You're absolutely right. The nuances make it a complex issue to address effectively. Balancing the understanding of external influences with personal accountability requires a multifaceted approach. Here are a few ideas that might help navigate this balance. 1. When evaluating actions, consider the context in which they occurred, including external pressures, influences, and the individual's circumstances. This doesn't absolve our responsibility but provides a fuller picture. 2. Increase awareness about the impact of authority and social pressures on behavior. By understanding these influences, individuals can be better equipped to recognize and resist unethical directives. 3. Implement training programs that emphasize moral reasoning and ethical decision-making. This can help individuals develop a strong moral compass that guides their actions even in difficult situations. 4. Create support structures within organizations and communities that encourage ethical behavior and provide safe spaces for individuals to voice concerns and resist unethical orders. 5. Ensure that legal and institutional frameworks recognize both individual accountability and the role of external influences. This might involve nuanced sentencing and rehabilitation approaches that consider the broader context.
Can I ask? I want to jump in there.
Fostering and
sorry, I just want to change the subject slightly. Do you think animals have a moral compass?
That's a fascinating question. The idea of whether animals have a moral compass has been the subject of much debate and research. The concept of a moral compass generally refers to the ability to distinguish between right and wrong and to act accordingly based on a set of ethical principles. While animals may not have a moral compass in the same way humans do, there is evidence that some animals exhibit behaviors that suggest a form of moral or ethical understanding. For example, 1. Empathy and cooperation. Certain animals like elephants, dolphins, and some primates display empathetic and cooperative behaviors. They may help injured group members or show signs of distress when others are suffering, suggesting a level of understanding and concern for the well-being of others. 2. Fairness and reciprocity. Studies with primates, such as chimpanzees and capuchin monkeys, have shown that these animals can recognize fairness and reciprocity. They may refuse to participate in tasks if they perceive that they or others are being treated unfairly. 3. Social norms. Animals that live in complex social structures, like wolves, meerkats, and bees, often follow social norms and rules that benefit the group as a whole. These behaviors can be seen as a form of ethical.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt. Carry on. You there? Hello?
No problem at all. Let's continue. As I was saying, animals in complex social structures often follow social norms and rules that benefit the group as a whole. These behaviors can be seen as a form of ethical conduct, even if they don't stem from the same conscious moral reasoning that humans might employ. For instance, wolves have pack hierarchies and specific roles that each member adheres to, which help maintain social order and cooperation within the pack. While animals might not have a moral compass in the human sense, their behaviors often reflect an understanding of social dynamics, empathy, and fairness. These behaviors could be driven by evolutionary advantages that promote the survival and well-being of the group rather than conscious moral reasoning. What do you think? Do you believe animals can have a sense of morality, or do you think their behaviors are purely instinctual and evolutionary?
I think they have got a sense of morality. But we're going to stop it there, so thank you very much for that conversation.
You're welcome. I'm glad we could have such an engaging and thoughtful conversation. If you ever want to chat again or explore more topics, feel free to reach out. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too. And there you have it. That was my deep conversation with an AI. If you enjoyed this video and want to watch more, I highly recommend you watch my Beginner's Guide to Prompt Engineering that you can watch here. Thanks, and I'll see you there.